Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
Guys, where are we?
Well, if there's a bright center to the universe, you're on the planet that it's farthest from.
Welcome to the Outer Rim. Enjoy your stay. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun, and we're back to talk more Severance Season 1 in anticipation of the second season that's coming out on the 17th of this year. It's January 2nd, 2025, and we've gotten to episode 7 of Season 1. This show is so much fun to talk about. I'm glad I'm finally doing it. As we get ready for the new season, each time I watch one of these episodes and remember everything, this is just one of those shows that keeps getting better every episode. This one's directed by Ben Stiller. This one's this one's just really good. We have plenty to say. Full spoilers if you've not seen this episode. For everything up to episode 7, it's getting harder and harder to not talk about everything that we already know, but for people who haven't seen this show, we're being nice and going over it one episode at a time, talking about it like I don't know everything that's going to happen. But thankfully, this episode gives us a lot before we head into the final 2 episodes of this season. So if you like what we're doing here on the channel, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Just helps with motivation. Really, honestly, it just helps with motivation. Really, I don't care otherwise. I just like, shut the fuck up, Robin. Get to the episode. Anyway, Defiant Jazz. I love the title. I love everything that happens in this. This is like, so much happens. Like you. All right. So our cold open. We waste no time. We are with Ragabi. Going into the bowels of the school that Mark used to work at, right? We find out for sure now, like no more speculation about who Ragabi is. She's the one who puts chips in people's heads. So we know she worked for Lumen. She's the one who cracked reintegration. And she's pissed. She's upset. Petey didn't have to die. You know, Petey freaked out at signs of his illness and ran off, and that's what got him dead. Probably because he, once he started realizing, things about his memory and Lumen and Mark, he couldn't help himself but to try to stop Lumen himself, almost like. But here we are. Now Mark is with Ragabi. And she's not happy with, he kind of is glib about or flippant about, maybe I don't want to, get, reintegrated. Maybe I like the way things are. He's still kind of pushing that, I don't know, even though we know he's just, I guess he just really needs to see what's really going on. I think he's still riding the fringes of this whole thing, not quite understanding how serious it all is. And it's about to get fucking really serious for Mark Scout. It's getting really serious for everyone because, she calls him out, right? He is you. Do you not think about that? I know why you went in there, but you created this person without his permission. You created another you. He is you. He's just not you with all the baggage. He is a pure soul, if you want to put it like that, like a blank slate to be filled with anything. And you put him down in a place where he's just put to work, for all you know, and that's all, right? You just go down there, you do your job, you come out. You don't, I don't think a lot of these people don't get told the details of all this, or don't think of all the details of another version of you doing the things that you don't want to do. And I mean, that's you're torturing yourself, but you brought him into this world without his permission, based on your own desire for emotional convenience. I love that line. I love that so much. Like, yeah, you got sad, so you couldn't deal, and you basically just wanted to do the drinking and the misery outside of it, and while the other does something so that you can just sit there and drink and feel sorry for yourself. But she's acknowledging that with what's been going on and the fact that he's there with her, she's like, well, both of you must basically want to do the right thing, you know. So she's there to give him the exposition dump. She's there to, help him along the way, explain a bunch of things. And then in walks Grainer, who doesn't see who he's talking to, but knows that he's talking to someone. I love this scene so much because if you've ever watched anything that has somebody giving the protagonist like secret information, the Deep Throat character, any of the people that would give Mulder information on the X-Files, that kind of character. What is it that usually happens to those kind of characters who come out of the dark with their like where you have to track that person down and be like, hey man, you're not even supposed to find me, like I've been doing my best to hide from the company, that person. What usually happens to that person? They're the ones who are usually killed by the person, the security person that shows up and is like, now you got to run from that person because they just killed the person giving you all the secret information, and it died with them. And without them, how, where's the proof, right? Oh my God, yeah, go ahead and run. Who are you going to tell? Nobody's going to believe you, that kind of story, right? But this subverts that. And while Grainer is like trying to like reel Mark into like, hey man, let's blah blah blah. He just gets Negan'd like a motherfucker. Ragabi comes behind him with a fucking bat and just beats his ass to death with it. Right in front of Mark, who is just like, whoa, everything goes to 11 now. All right. This story goes to 11. So that's how we start this episode, man. Grainer is, and you could even hear him like as he just gets his head bashed in. Seriously, Negan style, man. She had no emotion about it, too. It was like, Grainer's here. I have to kill him. Why would she feel that it was that big a deal that he's there, that she would have to kill him? Okay, we haven't dealt with like, okay, Petey died, but nobody's been killed until now, or at least that we've seen. We don't know how many deaths are associated with Lumen or Severance or anything. This is a company that has senators in their pockets. So a little murder, I don't know. But she's an ex-employee, so she's got to be worried that they'd kill her. Wouldn't it be like that? Or is it really just to protect the information? Like the severance thing is so important that they stop it, that this guy can't live, right? He can't go back to them and tell them anything, like he has to just go. So that's just amazing. And now Mark has to cover up a murder. He has to not throw up because of DNA. Imagine somebody telling you not to throw. Like, how do you stop yourself from throwing up? I don't have, like, I don't know. I guess there's times where you can. You're like, but like if I don't know, is it easier to stop yourself from vomiting when it's trauma over being intoxicated? I don't know, but that's the start of our episode. I mean, and then when we come back from, again, the amazing intro, there's Alexa. I like that her name is Alexa for some reason. Just like, I keep expecting somebody to go, Alexa, answer, But she sees Mark. She catches Mark like in the act. And by catches him in the act, I mean, she's been up for an hour since he's been gone. Like, he's been out doing whatever with Ragabi, and she's been sitting there waiting for him. Like she noticed him leave. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. Somebody leaves in the middle of the night, and you're just sitting there in their house. With no explanation. So and she sees him like throwing out his clothes that he's got to get rid of. I don't know if she exactly saw clothes going into the bag, but she saw him throwing something away. And this is one of those scenes where I'm like, how the fuck do you talk your way out of this? Right? Because she's been up. And she lets him go for a little while before she tells him, I've been up for an hour, dude. So keep digging this hole that you're in. It's your house. Why are you acting so weird? All she really wants is an explanation because it's creepy. She's in a vulnerable situation. She's at somebody else's house. They just slept together. She doesn't know him all that well. She knows he's grieving over his wife. And that, this is a tense thing. He's really trying, but this is not a great way to start. From the outside looking in, right? We know why he's upset, but can he tell her? Should he tell her? If he tells her, does that put her in danger? But he 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 uses the whole, this is new thing, us sleeping together. I'm not sure if I'm ready for it. And she kind of leads the conversation and he runs with it. And I've noticed that I sometimes give people outs in conversations, and that's what, like she kind of lets him have the out here where he uses the, oh, and I don't think she really buys it, but she lets him have it for now. Um, so the next time, like as he's going out to like throw out his clothes and stuff, of course, there's Harmony, like just sitting there all ready to go as he's leaving. Mark, and she literally tells him, "Hey, man, this isn't when you usually throw out your garbage." Okay, of all the ways for him to be like, like if he's gonna be super kind of panicky because witness of a murder, cover up of a murder, this would be the time where if somebody tells you that they pay attention to when you throw out your garbage, you might be looking at your neighbor differently and going, why do you know that? Why do you pay attention to that? Why does she know all these things? Why does she always pop up? Where'd that book go that I had out here? Why is she always in my life? Is it just because we're the only people on this block, or what? Like he's got a blind spot still for her. Because she just seems like, harmless to him. But like from all of our perspectives, I mean, when she busts out with that, Jack Frost needs a new dandruff shampoo. Haha. It's just so creepy. Patricia Arquette, again, fucking nailing this. This character in so many levels is such a performer in of itself. Like everywhere she goes, she's putting on a performance. All for her Lord and Savior Kier or whatever. And again, this is how some people are, man. She's like what if Mrs. Carmody from The Mist had a corporate job, right? Like if her religion, like she'd probably be like the vice president, or you know what? She'd probably be that extreme person that they like use for like special things. Like, hey, like we need to have somebody, like let's send old Harmony out to get him. But she is mental. Speaking of mental, we have Milchick, who is like running around, putting out, I guess, little fires, making sure everything's running smooth because Harmony, well, she's not at work yet, and neither is Grainer. And while Milchick is testing the doors and looking at the elevators, and he's preparing final preparations for Bert and dealing with Dylan's whole thing. Okay, this was a part that I was really excited to see, was Dylan coming back for the first time, right? But I mean, they're setting up something special for Bert, and for some reason, part of me was like thinking that this had something to do with the cards, with the defense cards, with the paintings, with the whole, making them think that there's like a coup or violence against department violence set up. I'm wrong about that, but the way that they've kind of set up this plot of is there, What is with the misinformation about a violent coup going on? But that's whatever. Dylan coming to work is what I've been really waiting to see. Because he's, the last thing he remembers, his son is in his arms, and then he wakes up coming out of the elevator. And there's Milchick. And they talk about, I don't know why Milchick is telling him all of this, but he talks about, I guess you have to give him some answer. You might as well just tell him the truth because, hey, what's he going to do? He can't tell, I guess it's kind of trapped information. He won't remember hearing it, right? I mean, he'll always know it. And I guess they could they figure out a way to just wipe their memories again? Wipe out anything they knew beforehand? Is there like a way to update the severance that says you will forget all the work that you've done so far and we're just going to reboot you to zero again? You won't even know anything about you could, as far as you know, it's your first fucking day here. They could probably do that too. But he tells him about the overtime contingency, that they can wake you up whenever. And, he tells him about the, like, how he told his son, and he didn't listen. That's thinking in. Dylan's like taking all of this in. This kind of silly character now has had this moment where everything was about work and dealing with, I'm just getting perks and blah, blah, blah. He has these little elaborate fantasies about what his Audi must be like. But now that he knows that at the very least he's got a son, and he saw, like, he heard how Milchick talked about him. He even retells him, I told him 1,000 times about the 1,000 times. He's telling Dylan, I'll give you perks if you shut the fuck up about it. Suddenly, Dylan's not thinking about finger traps and melon parties and caricatures. He's thinking, I have a son. This motherfucker disrespected him. This guy's trying to buy me off with stupid little perks. He's very confused, troubled, upset. There's so much going on in Dylan's head now. We also find out in this episode he is really smart. Like, again, I've said that Zach Cherry's parts are usually, like influencers, annoying kind of characters who are just, I don't know. He was always like a really quick background side character, practically a cameo, a glorified extra in a lot of TV shows and movies. So this is the first time that they've given this kind of character a way to, this actor at least, who plays those kind of characters a lot, to give him, like, what if you made that character interesting? And Zach Cherry is, I haven't given him enough credit until now. He's really good on this show. It shows what you can do with just, give somebody a good writing. If you want to make them a caricature, they just write you as a caricature, not a character. You know what I mean? He's an actual character in this movie. And the way that he is reacting to this is great. And man, does he have his moment later. Everybody has a moment in this. But now the new protocol, as Mark finds out, is that Milchick is going to take you to your desk, right? And honestly, that because of what they've done, right? I was talking about, what do they do, like, when these guys keep rebelling? What can they do besides send them to the break room and wrap their knuckles or whatever they're doing? They can't do anything. What if your Audi decides to quit? And if your Audi decides to quit while you're doing that work, what are the consequences? Would they even let Mark quit? Are there, like, contracts? Are there, like, stipulations? Is there fine print? Would they be too worried that you'd find something out? And with the chip still in their head, they could just turn you on and off. Like, maybe you wouldn't even know that you were still working for Lumen if they wanted to. But let's see. They are now locked in, like at school, basically. I don't think they lock kids in at school, or do they? I don't know. It's been a long time. It's been a while. But you're supposed to sit at your desk and shut the fuck up. Teachers watching, right? But it really feels like more work anyway, is what I was getting at. It's like, their little rebellion has actually screwed things up for them. But this is all they can really do, right? They spend money increasing security, changing security, keeping them on lockdown. Milchick now watching even closer. And the guy's got to be at a bunch of different spots, and he's all by himself. And now Grainer's gone, and Harmony's not there either. And he's having a bad day. This is Milchick's bad day because he's got to deal with them. He's got to deal with Bert. He's got to deal with everything that's going on there all by himself. I'm not sympathizing. I'm just saying this is what's going on. This is like one really bad day at Lumen, and Milchick's the only one there trying to juggle all the responsibilities while Harmony is off doing Harmony things. Um, which is what we need to get to because where is Harmony? What is she doing instead of being at Lumen like a good old soldier? Well, she's being creepy with Devin. And trying to again, it seems like all she really wants is more information about Mark. What does the sister know about Mark? What is she trying to find? What's the specific information? Is it for leverage? I don't know. But it's a well acted scene again because Devin out, because she doesn't know anything about Harmony's background, who she really is. I mean, she floats the idea. She talks about the senator's wife and talking about like her suspicion that this lady's severed, and I thought that was only a work thing. And Harmony's just like riveted listening to this, right? While she tries to just blast, oh, if I gave birth, I wouldn't remember who Clark Gable is. Like, and she's funny. She's able, like the performance she's putting on, the fake person that she's become again. Like she's Mrs. Selvig, but I mean, we've never seen Mrs. Selvig like this, and she's just regaling some body story about being a wet nurse and somebody's boob spraying milk everywhere. Like it's like since we are watching it from the perspective of like what we already know about her and knowing that Devin has no idea who she's talking to, it just is so much creepier, and the performance like is so much made so much the better because of it. um uh but okay, when we get back to our severed group, right? Irving's being worried. He immediately wants to go find Bert, already just break it, like he's in love. He, like I said, these guys, when your feelings are like this, you'll find any bullshit reason to go talk to them when you're at work. I know myself, I've had in the past had to like lock myself down in my own department to keep myself from wandering when I'm like, I just want to go talk to the person over there, like, oh, maybe they need this box of something. So I'll go over there and give it to them, like just to get like, not really to get away from the job, but like, well, yeah, you know, to get away from the job, but like, because you're just trying to get to what you want to do, which is be around somebody that makes you happy. Um, but he's worried. Dylan's hostile, right? Dylan's like sitting there typing, just trying to, in angry. Helly's looking around at everybody like, what is going on? And yeah, Mark's also kind of like confused when all of a sudden here comes Milchick again, juggling all the plates as he brings in a little hi-fi system because Helly got 75% of Sienna refined. Technically 73%, as Irving points out, but whatever. He takes his creepy picture and it's a 5-minute dance party for Helly, right? And she gets this like list of like what you can listen to, and I had to write them all down, man. I had to. This is like, okay, this is the choices that they have to listen to for music: body funk, bouncy swing, buoyant reggae, defiant jazz, effusive ska, exalted choral, exciting rap, hootin' tootin' country, lofty orchestral, maximized rhythms, playful punk, reckless disco, spooky ambient, tearful emo, thoughtful grunge, wholesome big band, and wistful pipes. Now, of those, man, I'm like, what are the ones I? Okay, first just out of my own curiosity, being a growing up in the grunge era, I'd have to know what thoughtful grunge sounds like. I would just have to. I think it would be like if you're a millennial, you'd probably want to listen to, like, I don't know, maybe pick the emo one. I'm not saying that all millennials are emos. I'm just saying a lot of emo music came out, I think, when for the millennial generation. Anyway, or what would like the Gen Z want to listen to, or like the boomers? The boomers. Let's see, what would the boomers want to listen to on here? See, because I'd say I'd pick ska, but I can't stand ska. Let's see. I'd say the boomers would probably like hootin' tootin' country. Yeah, hootin' tootin' country or reckless disco. For me, like I said, thoughtful grunge or I also would want to know what playful punk sounds like. Anyway, folks, they picked Defiant. Helly picks Defiant Jazz because of course she did, right? But also Helly catches Milchick's comment. He makes a comment about like, well, yeah, it's been a pretty tough morning for all of us, and she's like, how has it been tough for you? Like, I love that detail. It goes nowhere. It's just a thing that someone would say, and he ignores it. I love it. But she picks up her little. They give you like little instruments, safe instruments apparently to pick. There's like a flute there. She picks the maracas. I'd say brain Milchick with it, but it'd probably break. But this brings up a part that I also want to talk about: work and environment. How music can play a big part in your attitude for the day, even the lack thereof. Like where I work, we listen to we usually have a satellite that plays like a channel, and lately we've been listening to a lot of, God help me, Shania Twain. No offense to Shania Twain lovers, but if you listen to Shania Twain over and over and over and over again for a while, just like I would get tired of listening to my own favorite band after a while. I'd be like, what the okay, come on, let's have a little spice of life here, man. Let's throw something else in here. But or like when the holidays come and it's nonstop Christmas music for a month, right? I've gotten better at ignoring a lot of that stuff. But if you're listening to good music, it can fucking change the day for everyone. It can. I have seen music in the workplace make everybody actually more friendly and more like energetic, and like, I don't know. Does anybody else feel that way out there? Because I do. I think that like watching them find their rhythm and stuff, like it's a strange feeling at first, and that they just kind of give into it, except for Dylan, of course. But like I like that's a real, it's a positive thing, but it's the way that they do it makes it creepy. You know what I'm saying? Because why the fuck does Milchick spend so much time like trying to get Dylan out of that seat? Is it because he knows that Dylan's upset? Because dude, man, bro, Dylan fucking explodes on him. He says like a bit of a moment where he's flashing to everything that happened last night. And he just, because he wanted to know what his son's name was. And he's like, you probably shouldn't, bother yourself with that shit, right? He explodes. He turns on Milchick. He pushes him right into the fucking hi-fi, smashes everything all over the place, right? And he just gets on top of him. And Milchick's not a small person, man, but Dylan's big too. And he is on him and he bites him. He's biting him down. What's my son's fucking name? Like, and they pull him off. They're actually holding on to, they're more worried about what Milchick's going to do. Like, they feel like, what did Milchick do to make you like this? They're holding him back because they're scared for him. And he's just shouting and, at him. And Milchick's like, you broke the skin and the dance is canceled and all this shit. All right. But what does he do? He runs away, essentially. What can he do? What can he do? We are now in uncharted territory. At least for the viewers of this show. We've never seen any, like, what is the protocol with this? We'll find out. He just moves on with his day. But like, because again, he's by himself. What's he going to do? Especially because of a bit of something that happens, right? Because Milchick tries to threaten Dylan. right? He's like, let's go to Miss Cobell. And because Milchick told Dylan, this is a bit of a stupid beat on Milchick's part. Would Milchick believably make this mistake? I don't know. Maybe because he's frustrated, he just kind of lets it blurt out. I guess people do that. Where he tells him, like, I didn't, I'm kind of on my own about this whole overtime contingency thing. I didn't get permission for. He told that to Dylan, so Dylan uses that. Let's go. Yeah, I love that when people go, yeah, you want to tell her? Let's go see her together. Knowing that that Milchick would have to expose what he did. So Milchick is on his back heels now, and he just got to get out of there, right? And move on to the next fire that he's got to put out. But now Dylan's like, fuck it. They can wake us up. And as soon as he says that, Helly perks up. Helly's been like sitting there quietly enjoying the dance and everything, just trying to, be the best that she can be for, at the time, like she's stuck. She's just going through the motions right now. But she sees this as a way to figure out how to wake up outside of the Lumen Industries. She immediately like goes in on this, right? That they can fight. If they can find the controls, they can wake somebody out on the outside. Because during the dance, that's when Mark finds Grainer's card that he kept. Ragabi told him to keep it, take it to work. Your innie will know what to do. Now, I thought that was a bit of a stretch because like maybe Mark would just we would have episodes of like him waiting to do something. If he had found this card, like say in episode 2, I could say that maybe they would hold on to this bit of information, but they give it to him and he instantly, they use it. Like, this is the security card. He gets it in his pocket. Here we go. We can go to the security room, right? Why does my Audi have this if he's not trying to help us in some way? Which is, again, I love that this is how the Audi, Mark, and Innie out start to work together without each other knowing what the other one really is doing, without being able to communicate to each other what to do. It's just such cool storytelling, man. It's just such a cool story. They've thought, like, even when things are a bit convenient, and there are conveniences, like I said, with Devin seeing the senator's wife again after they saw each other at the retreat, or the fucked up way that Miss Harmony is trying to become Devin's wet nurse so that she can eventually Devin can throw that information about the senator's wife to her. It's all a bit convenient, but because they've set it up that Harmony is there for information about Mark, and that's why Devin tells her what she tells her. It sometimes is a little thin, but it's still thin as something, and it's not a plot hole, and it's not poorly done. It's just a kind of quick explanation. Is it convenient? Yes, but sometimes things are, but it still makes sense, and that's what I like. Is that the writers really knew how to like connect dots, make things make sense that might not make sense, even if sometimes it's a little thin. But okay, yeah, it's convenient that Harmony is gone, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. I have a lot of them. Okay, so they all decide, we can do this, right? We're gonna take the card. We're gonna go to the security room. We're gonna find out what we need to know about doing the overtime contingency, so that one of us can like try to like do something on the outside that can like help us. But immediately Irving bails. Again, he has found love, he has found friendship, he is worried. This is what you do. He immediately just takes off. Sorry, can't hear you. I'm already gone. I'm going to see Bert. I have to make sure he's okay, because I mean, he's afraid that they're torturing Bert for their indiscretions. Now, what we find out, Bert did go to the break room, but he's out now. And Okay, so they get to the security department and they find all these manuals. They find all the departments. They find their names. There's nobody there because Grainer apparently is the only security person there. And they find the book on uh, the overtime contingency. They rip it out and they find out Cobell's on their way. Because, of course, now we have to, we add this bit on there because more tension, right? How do they're all separate. Irving's going off to find Bert. They're out in the security agency or the security room, and Cobell's on her way. Who then, right, to increase the tension even more, the board, the avatar for the board shows up saying, Grainer is dead. I keep saying Granger. I don't know why. I think there's a company around here that is named Granger, and it's like something I hear on the radio all the time, so it keeps messing up this guy's name. But they tell her Grainer's dead, so they already found his body. Whoever hit it didn't, do a really good job. It's also maybe they meant to let them find it like a message, like "Don't fuck with us, we'll kill you." Um, but this is when Harmony uses her information. They want to like come down on her, so she says, "Reintegration happened. I have the proof, and to be glad to share it with you guys if we have a face to face. No more intermediaries, no more avatars for you guys. Somebody's going to talk to me." Right. And that almost feels like how you feel at your job sometimes, where you're like, I want to talk to the higher ups. How do I get to talk to the higher ups? Because, in a lot of places, there's a chain of command that if you skip it, let's say if I were to go past my general manager without at first talking to my general manager about a problem, the district manager will probably tell you, why didn't you go through your district manager? That's the chain of command. So she's just trying to skip that now. That's why she's holding on to this information for leverage to get a meeting, and now she's got it at the annual Egan Family Gala that's happening conveniently again next week. So she's going to get her meeting. The avatar lady, she looks creeped out having Harmony in her face, which would be very, very weird. But Dylan, they get the information back. They get back before Harmony can see what they're doing, and they go over what they have to do for this contingency. And it turns out you need to do like it's a 2-person job. And Dylan's all about this now, man. I love it. Dylan is energized. He's like, that's cool because I have the strength of 2 men. Man. Like he is up. He is in it. And they say, well, there's 2 levers and you got to hold them both. And he's like, I'll do it. You guys just go. I've got this. And I love Dylan's confidence here of like, I am ready to do what has to be done. He's going to Deadpool Wolverine it, if you know what I'm saying. At the end of that movie, anyway, what they had to do, that's what Dylan has to do, in a way. Just if you understand what I'm talking about. So Irving finally finds Bert. We are getting to the end of this. There's so much that happens. So we find out Bert has worked there for 7 years. Okay. For some reason in my head, I'm like thinking this is a long thing. Like Bert's old, so clearly he'd have been there for a really long time. This must be an old company. But 7 years tells me he's probably been there like one of the first people there. I don't know. How long have they been severing people? But we also find out it's Bert's last day. Why is it Bert's last day? They say that he was retiring. But does this connect somehow? What we don't know what Bert was working on at the beginning. So at first I was like, they're working on, more of that secret shit. But I got to thinking maybe this is just about his birthday, the things that he wanted. But I'm starting to think that Bert is being retired because of something that he did for them. And having that guy walking around with that information probably isn't a good idea. So they're retiring Bert so they don't have to do anything else, right? Get rid of the person who knows what we're doing, right? And he won't remember. No one will remember whatever it is Bert's working on except for Milchick and everybody else. So this retirement is creepy as fuck too. And I love his video to himself. I carry on these. I know all of you, but I don't know any of you. I love it. I'm going to carry, somehow I'm going to carry the memories of all of you, even though I don't know any of your faces, any of the things that you like. I don't know any of you really. It's so great. It's so funny. But I love he's like, good job, buddy. But this Irving can't take it any longer because he sees this differently. And I love this is when John Turturro turns the fuck on, right? All of our characters are flipping on for the first time and are like, done. We are over this shit. And Irving's like, you smug motherfucker. And I just loved it so much. And he just the look on Milchick's face is the regular, just the frown and the seriousness comes out. And he's just like, you're not severed. You're not like us. You don't, you don't get to wipe out, like your memories. You have everything. You guys can erase us. You can kill us effectively. You're sitting there like this is no big thing. You're killing Bert. You're killing my love. You're killing my friend. And Milchick's like, I don't know what's gotten into you people today. And I mean, I kind of see his perspective. If you look at it from Milchick's perspective, it has been a bad day. Because he doesn't know everything that's going on. Again, because Grainer's gone and Harmony's gone and no one's told him anything. There is so much that has been going on. He doesn't even know Grainer's dead yet at this point, right? So he walks, Irving back, who's pissed, but he's walking in front of him and he keeps having to turn around. And there's a bit of a spooked look on Milchick's face, like he's worried what Irving will do. I mean, he's already been attacked by Dylan and bitten by Dylan. What are the health protocols of that? Did he go to a nurse? Did he patch himself up? Does he want anybody to know what happened? Probably not. So he's probably covered up that wound. And then he just goes to Bert's party like it's nothing, right? But he's pissed. This is the loss of a love for him. This is like, what other purpose? He has found a purpose more than Kier and Egan and Lumen and Severance and this job and the black ooze coming out, like all these things that Irving's going through. And now it's being taken away. Fuck that. And they all see how upset he is. And when they turn and they give us that shot and he's like, let's burn this place to the ground. It's like, yeah, let's go. It also made me think of like that, like when the heist is getting put together, and like that Rick and Morty moment. It's like, you son of a bitch, I'm in. And as we end this episode, right? So everything's getting ready to pop off down in Lumen Industries. We see that after helping cover up a death, participating in a murder, essentially, Mark's drinking again. It's been a bad day for Mark too. He came out of Lumen and stressed out because the last thing he remembered is throwing away clothes, and he's slammered. And Alexa comes over to get her phone, and he's just hammered. And I love this performance, by the way. Being drunk performances are really interesting. This one, to me, is that level of drunk where you're sarcastic and you think, like, like nothing is, everybody's after you and not the other way around. Like you're taking things personally, but like in a sarcastic way. So she's being like worried for him, right? He's upset. He's got so much going on, and he rips up a picture of his wife to prove that he's fine and that he can have a relationship and shit. But he is spiraling more than ever, and Alexa sees it. But we notice that we don't get to see who his wife is when he rips up the piece of paper, and he goes out there and she leaves, and he's just going on and starts talking about his wife. She was great. She was extraordinary. And he goes back in and he goes to the picture that he ripped up. And over a song by Billie Holiday, he puts the pieces back together. And we find out that Gemma is Miss Casey, played by Dyken Lockman, who I, again, just somehow had to ruin somebody's name at the end of this video. I should just look up how to pronounce her name before I make the next video. And if I'm right, hey, I'll be happy. I'll be vindicated. But I feel like I'm a cracker saying quesadilla at a Mexican restaurant. You know what I'm saying? But can I have 16 fajitas? Um, so we find out. I mean, boom! All right, I can finally talk about it. Miss Casey is Gemma. Holy shit! Right? Holy shit! She's not fucking dead. What the fuck? Like I said, how many ways can you be severed? Right? Because clearly they severed his memory of her. Why? Why is she down there? All these things that are going to be happening. And that's where we leave this episode before we get to the penultimate one of season 1, episode 8. A lot happened in this video. A lot of shit happened in this episode of Severance. And again, it's a good thing that Ben Stiller directed. I think this was an important one to really nail down. And I think that bringing in Ben Stiller to direct it was a great idea, great choice. So everybody that's been watching these, thanks so much. I hope you guys continue to like them. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, all that jazz. And we will see you all on the next episode of Severance or any of the millions of videos I have on my channel. Check them out. Bye.
Ba 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 bum. Ba bum 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 bum.